Good morning, Delaware. Whoa. Whoa. Am I taking Lauren Bacall lessons here? Actually, what happened was last night, two of my brothers are in town and my sister, and we played guitar and sang until after midnight.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm not used to doing that. So my throat is just shot. So
you're not the only one, George.
I didn't go drinking after the jug, but we did our drinking at home. Anyway, welcome to. Wait a minute. There's 3 other guys in the studio.
What is this?
We've been invaded.
That's right.
This is the city incursion as opposed to the city digest.
Multiple city incursion.
That's right. I was going to say, not only do we have Lee Yoakum and Chief Adam Moore, got it right this time, and Darren.
Former voice, Darren, how many jabs are you going to take at Lee this morning? That's all I want to hear.
I've got a very special this day in history.
Oh.
Bring it back.
I forgot about that.
So, yes, we did one crossover show many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess this is your idea of how we wrap this up?
Well, I thought as we are here at your second to the last show before retirement officially next Friday, September 30th, I wanted to, take these last few shows and bring it back to where it all began, which...
Then why aren't we in the studio over on Bowtone Road?
I know, right?
and George, she thought it was going to be so wild, she asked the police to be here.
That was like, we got to bring the chief. We got to bring the chief in.
I do want to just say one more thing to set the record straight. This is second to last episode of George's. Not only did we do a crossover episode, but you're kind of our spinoff.
Yes, I was going to mention that too, but I think
I'm not even part of the show
appropriate.
anymore, but I'm still claiming it.
Well, yes, we're the spinoff, but we're sort of like the spinoff of Mork and Mindy did a lot better than Happy Days. So
Whatever came before it.
Lee and I are the Joni Loves Chachi of radio shows.
What planet are you on that you think Mork and Mindy did better than you?
What?
So, do you remember when your first appearance on Delaware City Digest?
My first
Yeah,
appearance?
do you remember our first time we had the library on?
Oh, yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
You do?
No, I mean, what? Tell me.
I believe,
Tell me
I
more.
looked it up, it was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think it was January or November. It was towards the end of the year, November of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It's where it all began.
Yep. I remember.
That wasn't long after we started.
No, I started in October 2015. We came over, we talked to Fred, we talked to, was it Bob? I don't remember, somebody else at the station here, and asked if we could do a show, and they said, when would you like to
They
start?
said, these guys are crying about the intro show. Do you remember that? The library needs a show. So.
We want a show, too. Yeah. But it worked. And we did better than you. We got a sponsor.
So,
boom! The jabs.
That's
So
right,
many
yeah.
this morning.
there are sponsors to this show. So what? So you are officially going to wrap it up.
I am indeed, yes.
And so rock and roll and evidently bourbon drinking is in your future.
Actually, last night it was just beer. The bourbon's tonight. So yeah. No, I have very little in my future. It was funny because I went through and cleaned up my calendar and realized I got nothing. I got like a vacation coming up in October, and that's it. So, but that's all I want to do. I want the idea that I can go back to my true circadian rhythms and stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning every night and sleep until 10. So anyway, that's
before we get into the real show, I just want to make sure I get this in. Congratulations on your retirement. It's been great working with you and being part of the community, and I really appreciate what you've done for the library.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I appreciate that.
Now the silliness can recommence.
Back to the silliness, yes. So, anyway, how do we have a format for today's show? I mean, usually we do have a format.
I did threaten the boys that they need to come prepared with books. So
Format.
Format.
Yes.
They don't know anything about a format.
Well, I know. But, we tried. We've tried in all these years to show them how radio is done.
With prep.
I like this day already.
These are the people that said, "Oh, we'll help you find that book. Here's 5,000 little recipe cards in a confusing wooden case. This will make it a lot easier."
Boy, it shows you how long it's been since you've been in the library.
I didn't realize we needed to bring a book. I thought we were going to have a riveting discussion of how the Dewey Decimal System changed the modern world. So.
Well, that is what my thesis was about. Dewey decimated, yes.
How did these guys last?
Because we had all those books and those stupid little cards, and we could read stuff we could talk about.
It's like the A-Team spinoff was Masterpiece Theater.
Whoa,
I mean, I don't
I'll
hate
take
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
right.
It's not. I'm not completely offended.
I pity the fool who doesn't read the library books.
And then over here, I'll just sing da 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 da.
Actually, I want to be like Alistair Cook, you know, and be very serious, and I just can't pull it
I
off.
can picture like a smoking jacket on a big leather chair with a glass of something brown in your,
I have a smoking jacket, but of course my wife is a costumer, so we've got everything. I could wear anything. I can wear a tuxedo to
He's
the
got
show
a
if I wanted
king's
to.
a king's outfit.
Yeah.
All of the
So-
things.
Anyway,
No,
So, yeah, what do you really want us to talk
I
about?
did tell.
To bring the book.
No, you don't need to bring a
it's
book.
Radio. Who would know if you brought the book or you didn't, you know? It's sort of like having Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. Nobody can tell what's really happening. Go ahead, Darren. What book did you read?
Well, I just want to give you my favorite book of all time. I have lots of
that
books.
works.
I love it.
Yes.
That
Love
works.
I just want to give a plug for Jurassic Park. The movie.
Okay.
Hold on. Movies are awesome. I'm a big dino freak, but the original Jurassic Park is actually a good book in addition to turning into awesome movies. So Michael Crichton.
Yes.
Probably I don't know if it was his first book, but it was his most famous book. I think he had written other ones like Andromeda Strain.
Andromeda Strain was before that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually a good book. The science is kind of a little fudgy with the whole DNA from Amber, but better than the movie if you can believe that. So
I can believe
plug
that.
it.
Most books are better than the movie.
Have you read it, George? Or is that
I
too,
haven't.
like,
No, I
lowbrow for you?
read Andromeda Strain. I love that book. I have not read Jurassic Park. I can't. I have
You know,
to
the other
read.
good books that turn to movies too, like Sphere, Congo, which was a really horrible movie, but a decent book.
What's the one about the computer mainframe?
There was something about planes, and there was one about microbots that start killing people. Prey, I think. They got weird. Like Michael Crichton kind of lost the edge a little bit, but classic Michael Crichton, very good.
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
And then there is a nod in the most recent Jurassic Park movie to the mosquito and the amber. Did you see that at the very beginning?
Did I see
Did you
it?
see
Of course.
I thought that was very nice.
He doesn't miss a trick.
Not at all.
No. So,
I wouldn't put it past him.
nope. So
And I know Lee's book is going to be anything by Tom Clancy with Mark Greaney because Tom Clancy's been dead for many years, but he keeps coming out with books somehow.
It's a franchise, man.
yeah, Ray Kroc's been dead for years, and we still have McDonald's.
But I mean, it literally says by Tom Clancy, and then in little letters with Mark Greaney, whoever that poor Mark Greaney guy is.
Tom Clancy, and then it says by Mark Greaney. They're using that as the
I feel bad for the poor guy who's been dead. They're like,
It's
keep
the
calling
Ryan.
him.
It's the Ryan verse.
It's Tupac of the novel series.
Yeah, he wrote all these books in his basement, and they're just finding him.
Every time I start missing Tupac, he comes out with another album. It's like, you know.
So what book are we going?
So a book I like that I got from your main library. It's an author by the name of Eric Larsen,
Oh yes, one of my
and
favorites.
it's called The Splendid and the Vile.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about
Sounds
Churchill's.
like it's a book about me and Lee. Like, and Vile.
So it's about. I just finished that. It's about Churchill's. It's from when Churchill takes office as the prime minister, and then it's his first year in office. So basically, May of 40 to May of 41, and all that went on in Great Britain. And they do it's just some really well researched back to the Churchill diaries. So I finished that, and then he also did Dead Wake about the sinking of the Lusitania. So anyway, two very cheerful topics there, but
Were they accurate
the
as to
Blitz
how
and-
you remembered those things occurring when you were covering them for the Gazette?
I went back and compared my notes when I was with Murrow on the rooftop in London, and it was very similar to that. Yeah,
His first book was Devil in the
Devil
White
in the
City.
White City, right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
found
I
anything
like
by
his
him I
stuff.
don't like
Yep,
yet.
yep.
So.
If you remember the turn of the century.
Yep. Yep. Chief, what do you got?
What do I got? Well, I think my favorite book is a book that was also turned into a movie. It's The Hunt for the Red October, which is a Tom Clancy book. But currently what I'm reading is both my dad and I are Lee Child, Jack Reacher fans. Easy reads, but a lot of action. And so he usually buys the books and then they get handed to me after he's read them or vice versa. So,
Well,
yeah.
that works. You know,
Yeah.
however you read them. I don't
So
care.
I guess I'm kind of into thrillers, government thrillers, espionage, that type of stuff.
Keep you on your toes for fighting crime.
Yeah.
They're so accurate, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
The last time you had a rooftop chase, I'm sure it was like last Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, not so much.
Helicopters
Right?
and-
I did chase someone down a few years ago on the show.
I do
Remember, like
remember
you were
that,
actually
yes.
like getting coffee and someone ran by you or something.
what was that?
You
I don't
did
know.
something when we were surprised. I remember you came into the show and you're like, yeah.
Oh
actually,
yeah. Well, I actually, a couple years ago, the pinnacle of my career, 2 armed bank robbers.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. That unfortunately, we had a robbery at one of our banks in downtown, but fortunate enough, myself and another captain were in right place, right time, and saw those folks. In fact, they ran the stop sign right by the library
Yes, they
there,
did.
and
I remember that.
we got in behind them, and a short pursuit ensued, and we were able to catch them.
Well, you probably saw them easily because of their black and white stripes and then their masks that they wore over their eyes. And,
With the dollar sign on them, yeah. So,
Yeah.
the bags with
Which,
the dollar
hey,
signs.
This show my age a little bit here, but another great library story for me is I used to go to the library to read Mad Magazine, and they used to have the whole the criminal
and Spy versus Spy.
yeah, Spy versus Spy. Yeah.
So
It's really nice when the robbers make themselves easily identifiable
that's
like
true,
that.
yeah. A big flashing sign on the back of the car.
Yes, I did it.
Yes.
So what author has the most books in your library?
Oh.
I think I know.
It's got to be James Patterson.
I was just going to say
the man churns out books like
oh
other
my
people
God.
churn
I
out,
was in there
garbage.
the other day, and I was back in the don't laugh the large print section. You can find your book in the large print section. If you often it'll be there. And anyway, I'm like James Patterson. It's just got to
He
be.
gets a whole shelf. He gets a whole.
Yeah, got to be. It's got to be the one.
Yep,
Doesn't
so-
he also write like kids books?
He does.
Yeah.
And Christmas. He's got a Christmas book. He's got one about Santa.
So who decides how many copies of a book you're going to get?
The public.
Yeah.
It is. We have a ratio. Scientific.
Algorithms.
Algorithms.
Science.
Wait a minute, guys. Hey, you're going to blow his mind right now because the reason Lee's back in the large print is it reminds him of his buddy Gutenberg and when they first started,
See?
He's like,
I love the sound effects. Thank you, Gage. Yep. So anyway, let's see. Okay, we probably should break here.
We
do
can
the
break
commercial
here.
break, and then we'll be back with more of whatever this show is today.
Show about nothing.
So stay tuned. That's what I'm supposed to say.
And you're listening to Off the Shelf and I supposedly Delaware City Digest, sponsored by the Friends of the Delaware County District Library on My 96.7.
I don't know how Karen will feel about sponsoring Delaware
Yeah,
City
the Friends-
Digest, but I'm sure she'll be fine.
They're not
with it
getting their
today.
money's worth out of this one.
That's
Sorry,
right.
Karen.
But I got to tell you, I keep hearing those commercials for Beat the Stigma. And I think if we're not helping to beat the stigma of public libraries being boring, then we're not doing our job.
Yeah, we haven't done it right.
Anyway, so
7 years later, we tried.
on this algorithm question, I've got a question about
yeah.
the library because you probably have part of your collection that's semi-permanent. Like I could probably go to the library right now and put my hands on a copy of Moby Dick if I want to read it or
I
whatever.
saw it there the other day.
Yeah, but then you also have part of the collection that is, I assume, kind of rotating, revolving.
Oh, yeah.
How do you decide what becomes kind of always on the shelf and what may go off the shelf? Hey, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
it's the public does a lot of that. We have computer records of how many times things are checked out. So if something's been sitting on the shelf for 3 years and it's not Moby Dick, it's not Huckleberry Finn or something that's going to be used in schools and stuff like that, it may get pulled off the shelf, given to the friends to be sold.
Okay.
Also, a lot of the collection when it gets moved around is because somebody checks it out from Powell and returns it at Ostrander, or checks it out from Orange and brings it back to Delaware. We don't send it back to that branch. We have what we call a floating collection. So the books just, wherever they get returned, they go on the shelf there. So
And we didn't
that's-
get specific into the algorithm earlier because it could be real boring. But there is a number. So we might have one copy that we've purchased of the newest James Patterson, and we might look on the catalog and see that 600 people have already requested that book. And so what we do is we make sure that we have a certain ratio. Is it like 4 to 1?
I think it's 6 to 1.
6 to 1, yeah. We have a certain ratio of how many copies we want to have of that book to the requests that are on the shelf. So that's how we figure out how many we need to buy.
So if Adam wants to save his favorite book, he can just check it out over and over and over again. And
Yes.
that'll stay on the
Absolutely.
shelf.
You're keeping it alive.
Algorithm.
Didn't you guys, or didn't the library recently join a Central Ohio, whatever? And that seems like it's really opened up a lot of
It's huge.
new
Yeah, it was
opportunities.
recently, about 5 years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
we joined
Yeah.
the Central Library Consortium. Yep. So we have access to like Upper Arlington's collection. Just to give a plug to your.
I think
your
I've gotten one
town.
of your books at Up Arlington, like they're in our
I
library
wouldn't
low.
be surprised. Yeah. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, the Columbus Metro is the big, the 900-pound gorilla in that consortium. But then there's also Worthington and Alexandria and Marysville, and so lots of libraries that are part of that. But it took us from having like 300,000 items available to having like 2.5 million items available.
Millions.
So, plus, then we're also part of Search Ohio, which means you can get books from all the academic libraries. So if you really want to study algorithms, we can get you the textbooks. So,
Or the annotated versions of certain things. I
Yes.
love reading annotated versions
Yes.
of like children's books and
So
things like that.
Let's talk about what seems to be your fetish for medieval garb. What do we got going on here, partner?
that's Joyce and me in our Renaissance Fair costumes at the Medieval Fair at Ostrander Branch Library. Yes.
Did you eat
That's what the-
giant roasted turkey
That's what the
legs?
kids are calling it. Yeah.
Yep, that's us. That's us. Yeah, Lady Joyce there in her royal purple. So,
Lee is going through, for those of you who aren't watching on Facebook, Lee is going through our fall edition of the Check It Out news magazine that comes out once a quarter for the library. It is our ode to Mr. Needham. And he also found a little juicy tidbit in Mr. Needham's bio. What would that be?
You totally slow played this. Yes. I've known you for 5 years. You should lead with this.
1, 2, third paragraph, last sentence. His sole brush with non-library fame came as a 2-time Jeopardy champion in December 1994.
And we're not talking he appeared on Jeopardy or he like snuck out one cheap victory. 2 times means it's legit.
A 2-time champion, which means you'd made 3 appearances.
Okay, so
Tell us the one that tell us the
All right.
question that you'll always remember.
Here's the question I'll always remember because it's the one I lost on.
Oh, did you go all in
third
on
show.
Final Jeopardy?
I did.
Oh, one of those sad moments where
Category,
he's like,
yes. Okay, so here it is. The category was royalty. Okay. And I remember the wording in the question because it's so outdated.
Seared into your brain.
Yes, exactly. According to Compton's encyclopedia, which I don't think even exists anymore, he was the most famous of the Polynesians.
King Kamehameha.
Why does everybody know this except me?
oh my God, Lee actually knew that answer. I mean, they were contemporaries, so.
All right. Now I know I have to retire. I may not even show up for next week's show. My mother-in-law, when that show was on, and I missed it, she called up and said, George, why didn't you know that one? Even I knew that.
I'm still stuck with who's Compton.
Compton's.
Yeah, I mean, I know
What?
Britannica,
It was like-
World, but
Yeah, that was the one they were using as their source back then. So, and they advertised at the end of each show. It said, questions authenticated in Compton's encyclopedia. So,
And George, I have to give you a little bit of a thing too because we're celebrating your retirement with a number of parties, and
so happy.
I don't know who's happier, and we wanted to have some fun, have some themes with it and stuff like that, and we hunted all over. I think the universe to try and find your Jeopardy episode. Did you tell Jeopardy like we couldn't have it because it doesn't exist?
I've got it. I've got the 3 episodes I was on at home
I
on
would
a
actually pay
DVD.
to see that moment. This is mean, but pay to see that moment when they revealed the question and you just did not know it and you had bet everything and like you just know you're dead in the water.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, your face must have been like so sad.
I think we need to have a screening.
No,
We've got 5 days.
Okay, so they did all. Was that all one day? Because they do episode after episode, right?
They tape 5 shows in a day. They tape 3, they take a break, and then they tape the other 2. And they do them 2 days in a row. So they have 2 weeks worth of shows taped in 2 days. So
And they probably have a lot of contestants just waiting in the wings.
They usually have 1 or 2 extra, and they're usually the ones who are based in Southern California, so they don't have to fly in and everything. And they don't pay a cent for you to be on the show. You got to fly out there yourself. You got to pay your own hotel, your own meals, and everything. So, yeah.
And since you're a former champion, did the thought cross your mind of putting in to be the permanent host or one of the hosts now that Alex has left us?
Well, I used to host the Jeopardy games at OCLC when I worked there because we used to do Jeopardy games to raise money for the United Way, and they wouldn't let me play. So I ended up writing the questions with the OCLC librarian, and then I got to be Alex on that. So that's as close as I came.
Did
So.
you use Compton's Britannia to
By the
decide
time we were
questions?
on, Compton's was as dead as Elvis.
And then the big question, what'd you do with your winnings?
That was the down payment on my first house.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's nice.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. Oh, and I also won. What was it? A year's supply of pickles.
No.
Serious.
Why?
Classic pickles. And what they did was
Classic.
they give you a packet of gift coupons that you can take to the store for a free jar of pickles, 12 of them.
You don't.
So,
No one needs that.
Hey, it's actually it's called something called sponsors. I know that we don't have a lot of that around here.
yeah, exactly. So, but that's precisely. I also wanted the ugliest sofa I've ever seen. But you have to pay tax on everything you
Wait,
win.
they gave you a couch?
They were going to, but it was like a price of like $900, and I would have had to pay tax on it.
I don't remember
And
them
I
giving
didn't
you
want-
stuff. Like,
They
Wheel of
don't
Fortune
do it
gives you
anymore.
stuff.
They don't do it anymore. But there used to be like a prize package you got as a going away prize. Yeah, there was this incredibly ugly sofa, and you could decline it and then not have to pay the tax on it.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah.
But you
gotta
could
take the Jeopardy
wait.
sofa.
Now,
Every
wait a
time you
minute.
sit on it, it's like, I won this on Jeopardy.
But Joyce was on Jeopardy about 3 months after I was. My wife.
What?
Yeah. And although she didn't win, she won a TV about the size of New Hampshire. It was in one of those old Curtis Mathis huge, like a regular CRT TV.
Yeah, I still have one.
Oh my God, it was great for about a year.
So she didn't win, and she won a cool TV.
Yeah.
You did win, and you got a nasty couch.
And a year's worth of pickles.
And pickles.
And a year's worth of pickles.
She also got some. I can't remember what she got a food prize too, and I can't remember what it was.
But you didn't decline the pickles, is what I'm
I did
really
not
taking
decline the
away from this
pickles. No.
story.
Everybody
How
should-
much taxes do you have to pay on a year's worth of pickles?
No, it's food. You don't have to pay tax on food.
There we go. There we go.
So are you a Jeopardy start at the $100 and work down?
Yes.
Or do you go find the
No, I was on when everybody played from the top to the bottom.
to
So
top
yeah,
bottom.
it was one. I wasn't Ken Jennings, but it was one of the other contestants who did really well. Who started that thing about bouncing around
Yeah.
to keep everybody else off their game. So
Also, I always thought they did that to hunt for the daily double, but
That's
then I was
part of
like,
it
if you
too,
do
yeah.
that too early, then you haven't done anything to earn yourself a good
you don't
base
have
for
much
the
to-
double. Yeah.
right, you don't have much to bet then. So
Right.
so
That
anyway,
seems to be about as much strategy as the Cash Explosion show, where they're like, pick a number and a letter, and it's like,
and maybe you win.
yeah, because it doesn't. Question's the question. Either you know it or you don't, right?
Right.
exactly. So
So can we talk about the Geek Fest a little bit? Because I'm like totally geeking out about it.
Yeah, we can.
Sorry, I don't know.
are we going to just like go right through, or do we have to take a 9:30
we got a
break?
break.
We'll still have to take a break.
Okay. Why don't we take? Can we take the break here?
We
and Then
can.
we come back. Then
Sure.
we can talk a little bit about Geek Fest, and
Yes, we
then
can.
And then you can talk about the city
right.
that you
Yeah.
sort of represent
Yeah.
here.
And we can go into whatever your format is.
Right,
So, so do I play the
outro?
outro of the off the shelf then?
It's very, very
I mean, even-
important. I have some signature lines that I am used to getting in. So
All right. So then let me say, thank you, Gage.
Okay, all right.
Thank you to our guests.
Sure.
You're not our guest though. It's your own show. Well, Darren's our guest.
I'm a guest.
Yeah.
Darren Shulman is is
Uninvited,
truly a
but-
guest, and so we will sign off here for Off the Shelf, and we will see you in the stacks.
But don't go anywhere.
Right, because we'll be right back with
Exactly.
Delaware City Digest.
What?
Yes.
Adam gets listed in the name?
Well, things have changed, man. It's a big world out
It
there.
was like 10 years I never got What the?
Well, Darren, you're welcome back.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt the
It
show.
is.
but I'm
It is the digest. I'm Lee. That is Chief Adam Moore, and we have so many special guests today. We're continuing rolling right on through Off the Shelf in the Delaware City Digest. Nicole, George, and a guy named Darren.
Hey, buddy. Good to be back.
Hey, welcome.
and I don't know how many times you did, Darren, but I've actually solo hosted the show several times.
Oh.
We didn't.
All right. I have to
Roasted.
get two things off my chest. First of all, I hate you, Adam, but congratulations on being named chief. But the best part about you being chief is that my wife now has a problem because she can't call you Captain Adam anymore, and so maybe you're not her favorite. She always liked Adam on the show better than me, my own wife.
Yeah.
She literally told me last night, I can't call him Captain Adam anymore because he's chief. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I think you've broken it. So now we can be friends.
All I
Congratulations.
see is Chief Adam just almost like a dog, like around the microphone, like Darren doesn't get this.
This is mine.
And if he comes over, he's just gonna snap.
Good luck. Oh yeah, Adam was always Darren's nemesis.
Yeah.
Darren be like, "Oh, I got a conference I got to go to, or Comic-Con for the 8th time this year." I'm like, "What's okay? I can get Adam to co-host." He'd be like, "Con."
It's a cross between Con and Newman.
Newman.
That's the way I always feel when Molly sits in for me, because when Molly sits in, you two have a lot more fun than you and I do.
It's a strange energy when Molly sits in.
It really is.
So we this is our mashup of Off the Shelf and Delaware City Digest, celebrating George's retirement from the library. Congratulations, partner.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And,
just like the gentleman you're about to talk about, I knew when it was time to walk away.
Oh, nice.
So the how many years and how long were you at Delaware?
I've been working in libraries for 51 years.
Wow.
And I've been at Delaware for 7. It'll be 7 next Friday.
Holy cow.
Where did you start, George?
I started as a high school student at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library. There was a small branch library in my neighborhood that I used to haunt from the time I could cross streets. And I started pestering them to give me a job when I was about 12, and they couldn't hire me until I was 16. And when they did, I turned 16, and a month later I was working there. So, and I just basically never left. I've worked in or for libraries because I've worked for a number of associations too over the years.
That's awesome. So what's in the future? What's
Well, the first thing in the future is going to Sweden and Norway for the Blue Jackets games at the end of October, beginning of November.
Mr. CBJ guy right here.
Yeah, we joined their package, so we are going over about a week
didn't see
before the
that
games.
coming?
That is a legit hockey fan right there. I'm telling
I
you.
love the Jackets, but man, that's some retirement coin.
I tell you, I have to say, and this is the God's honest truth. My mom passed away in April, and we didn't know she had bequests for us, and it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to pay for the trip to Norway and Sweden. Wow. So my mom loved to travel, so it was like, okay, Mom, thank you.
I had a daughter that played competitive ice hockey in college, and I like the Blue Jackets too, but I don't know that I'd leave the country to follow the Blue Jackets. So good for you, George.
We do love to travel. We do love Europe. We love Scandinavia. We've been to Denmark. We hadn't been to either Sweden or Norway. So this will be a nice vacation.
Lots of Norquists and Svenssons.
Do the Blue Jackets know that I think they really know how to play hockey in those countries. So
yeah, they do. And so what happens is they hire the best ones from over there to come over here. I think there's at least 2 Blue Jackets plus the general manager who are from the city where they're going to be playing the games.
So it's a hometown
It's a home
game.
gaming, home game for them actually.
All right, so we're going to get more from George.
There is no more from George. I'm done.
We'll
I'm
try
retiring.
to get something out of Darren. But before we do that,
Now the latest news.
Here's news you'll be especially interested in.
I have the most wonderful news for you.
Oh, you want to hear the news? Well, here's the news.
Oh, you want to hear the news, Delaware? Here's the news. Prepare to go wild.
He's got catchphrases. That's my song. And he added catchphrases.
If it makes you feel better, Darren, that music bed is still titled Darren's News.
I know. He totally stole it, and he gave his own little twist.
Like, I'm looking at it, it says
Yes.
Darren's News.
Well, Delaware, you know how we start this off. We have an exciting slate of city meetings coming up, starting on September 26th with City Council at 7 o'clock, and then followed September 27th by the Shade Tree Commission. September 28th,
That's a good one to take a nap.
Historic Preservation Commission is meeting on the 28th. And you can show up to any of those meetings in person at 1 South Sandusky. We'd love to have you. Or if you'd like to watch it at home, you can watch it on the live stream at the city's website, www.delawareohio.net.
You ought to have Roger Houston call the meetings, because he does such a good job with the jug.
Oh, yeah.
Make it sound exciting. He could really.
There
you go. I don't know if it sounds like that, but
if you're going to leave your seat, stand up now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So, other exciting news: Hidden Valley Golf Course, starting September 6th, is now taking online tee times. So you can go online, reserve your tee time. Of course, the city's golf course is open from April to November, weather permitting. And so check it out. It's a hidden gem out there on West William Street.
are you a golfer, George? And will there be any golf in your future?
No and no.
Okay.
And heck no.
All right, back to you.
Back to me. Yeah.
All right.
Another exciting news item, a shout out to our finance department and everyone that's involved in the city finances. They were named 2022 Government Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget, which, may bore some people, but the bottom line is you want the people watching your money. No. You want the people that are watching your money to win awards, right? Yes. Because that is one area where we want to make sure everything is top notch.
You prefer awards to negotiated settlements? Yes. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And the final news item of the day, there was a little foreshadowing here earlier, but the final news item of the day is there will be strife in the Shulman house this evening because Mrs. Shulman had to listen to her favorite radio broadcaster today, and he's on the mic right now.
Nice.
The former Captain Adam Moore, now the chief.
Man, Marcia, if you're listening, I hope you don't side with Adam again.
Delaware, that is the news that makes Delaware one of the best hometowns in America.
See?
What the heck?
Yeah,
Not one,
All right,
but two taglines.
Wow. I thought Marcia was going to be able to quit you, but now with all those buzz lines, she's going to be back on team.
And this?
Chief Adam.
This is called show prep, Darren. You should have tried it.
What distinguishes me and Adam is not the show prep. It's the radio voice. Did you notice how his voice got a little different?
Yes.
And the catchphrases.
Yes.
I never had catchphrases. Nice job, Adam.
Well, thank you.
Maybe I'll
Thanks,
even like
Darren.
you now.
I want to know who Parker would pick. Like if you have, like your voice over here and then, Chief's voice over here, like which one is she walking to?
Man, I don't want to answer that question.
And I would like to maybe come and visit your neighborhood sometime.
Oh.
With the cruiser or?
Wait, you could be carrying a warrant? I mean,
I love the way he said that. I'm going
Hey,
to
I
visit
had one news item.
Oh,
Here's
really?
one. It is Rutherford B. Hayes Day is coming up, Darren. I know you're very excited about that. He was my favorite president, and I was happy to cast my first vote for him. What?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Tuesday, October 4th is R.B. Hayes' 200th birthday.
he doesn't look a day over
No, he looks
175.
great
Yeah,
there,
it's
man.
amazing.
He's. Have you seen his young man picture in the Rutherford Cafe? He's a thirst trap.
He was striking. He was striking.
I can't believe you.
So anyway, Tuesday, October 4th, there's an 8:30 ceremony at the plaza where the statue is, a noon luncheon at Merrick Hall, and then a 6 p.m. dinner at the high school. There's lots of activities taking place, and all of the information is available through this QR code. No, it'll be, we'll have it at DelawareOhio.net and other places, but Tuesday, October 4th, Rutherford B. Hayes' 200th birthday. So,
And if you'd like to know more about the life of R.B. Hayes, I'm sure that you can get reading material at the Delaware County Library.
it's correct.
You bet you can. Yep. So that's how I knew he was a one-term president. So just you know when to walk away.
That's right. That's right. So let's see. We normally would end, but I believe there's Darren.
I have prepared. I used to have a bit.
Yep. Ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Let's go.
Nice to know it's still in the system. On this day in history, 1938, a time capsule set to be opened in the year 6939 was buried at the World's Fair in New York City. The capsule contained a woman's hat, a man's pipe, and 1,100 feet of microfilm. Unfortunately for those people in 6,939, when they inspect said microfilm, instead of a representative slice of life from 1938, they will see that 1,000 feet of the pictures are dedicated to selfies taken by Gazette reporter Lee Yoakum.
Nice. Nice.
You still got it.
And that's the news. So, yeah. It's good. I'm glad you're here today, though, Darren. Otherwise, what you would be... you're busy in Arlington protecting you guys from Marble Cliff or what? What's that?
Our rivals.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, basically they have to make sure that nobody puts a Michigan banner out on the,
Yeah,
the
well,
lawn. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do have to say, Lee, you inspired me so much. Like, we had the show, and I went down there, and I was like, hey, we should do a radio show. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. And I was like, no, seriously, we need to do a radio show. And they're like, no. And then finally, our Lee Yoakum, was gone for a while.
Oh, no.
And so we started a podcast because our Lee was gone. So we have a podcast, but we're not on the air.
But it's a podcast. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Won't you be my neighbor?
No, won't you be our neighbor so Mr. Rogers can't sue us?
Okay. But it's you and the city manager. It's cool. There's some buzz.
Yeah, so we one of the reasons we do the show is because I was jealous of my radio time and Chief Adam. But the other reason was I went down to a new city during COVID. No one really knew us. People were kind of all angry and just didn't really get to humanize city employees. So we wanted to kind of introduce ourselves to the community and then get to interview people who live there.
Oh, yeah, I know better. I know you, man. I know that.
And I'm a narcissist.
Yes. All right.
Once you've had that microphone, it's hard to give it up.
All right,
We even
that's the
have
news.
headsets.
We're going to take a break, and then we'll be
You
back
have to
with
take a
more.
break during your show.
Yeah, we get to
You don't
take a
have your
break,
own
man.
sponsors
Yeah,
or
we
anything.
do.
I don't know why
We
you're
take a
there.
break. We'll be back with Nicole and George, the Chief, and Darren after these messages.
And you're listening to Delaware City Digest and, I guess, Off the Shelf, sponsored by Mosher's Market on My 96.7.
Thank you, Gage. Yes, it is the crossover mashup of Off the Shelf and Delaware City Digest and favorite guests. Everybody's here. What is it? All the rest.
All the rest, and all just like on Gilligan's Island.
From Gilligan's Island.
But before I owe you an apology. I did not realize Mosher Market was actually sponsoring your show.
Heck
We have the
yeah.
Friends of the Library. I was feeling very superior because we had a sponsor that was actually paying good money for us to be on the air, and I didn't realize you did. So I apologize,
yes.
and I apologize to our friends at Mosher Market. So thank you.
Now, since we got the
That
Jeopardy
way they get a
champ
couple
here,
extra
right?
mentions on the show. So.
And I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it, and to see if the Jeopardy champ knows it. And all the rest, was that the first version of Gilligan's Island or the second?
First.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then they added the
Professor
and Mary.
Okay. Because
So rest, so many more.
So there's only two of them,
I knew that there was a change there.
Yep.
So
If you haven't, listeners, if you haven't figured out this show really is about nothing today.
figured
We're
it
on to
out?
Gilligan's Island trivia. But no, Darren Shulman back. Darren, welcome back to the show. Great to have you, partner.
I can't tell you how glad I am to be here. This is so much fun. I'm burying the hatchet with my nemesis, Adam.
Well, I was having a little bit of a flashback because Lee, Captain Herning is my partner down at the police department, and there was a period of time that Lee continually called us Skipper and Gilligan.
Nobody knows why, but it's so perfect.
Yes. So anyway, and we're here celebrating with George and Nicole. George retiring from the Delaware County Library, 7 years in Delaware, 51 years in the library business, and
I knew Melville Dewey personally. Yeah.
Yes.
We hung out together. Yeah.
I was in the library just this week and found just walking through the shelves, and there was Moby Dick. So I just want to make sure it still started with that same sentence. It does.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, we don't change that usually.
Yes. Yes.
So
anyway, reflect on your time in Delaware and what it's meant to you.
I have made more good friends in 7 years here than I've made in the rest of my life. This is just a wonderful community. I've been so welcomed between being on the Historical Society board, working with the Rotary Club, with the other organizations in town, Main Street Delaware, the Chamber. It's just the Powell Chamber. It's just such a welcoming community, and I've been made to feel so much a part of the community so quickly that has made this last 7 years a real pleasure. And just the radio show here, the folks at the station, our friends at the library, you just can't knock it. It's been great. We've got great relationships with other organizations in the community, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd spent a long time working in associations, and I knew when I left OCLC I wanted to work in a public library again before my career was over. And when this came open, I was just so pleased because I knew Mary Jane Santos, my predecessor. I knew her predecessor, Trish. And so I knew what a good library it was, and I was lucky enough to come in and get to work with people like Nicole. We brought in people like Molly and Amanda, and it's just a great team, and it's been a real pleasure. So
well, it's you talk about the way the community. It's a two-way street, George, and you are very present, and you are the face. I think it's in the newest guide. You're the face of the library, and
the library really needs a facelift.
So speaking of that,
Brian will definitely be an upgrade. Yeah.
So great. That's a great transition. So talk about who's coming? Who's going to succeed you?
Brian Howard. He started September 1st. In fact, we're sharing my little cubbyhole of an office this month, and I'm sure he's glad I'm here right now instead of there. We're both
measuring for curtains and stuff.
Fairly large gentlemen, and it's a small office. So anyway, it's he was the director of the London Public Library for 5 years, London native, so he knows Ohio well. Went to Kent's Library School, went to Capitol for his undergraduate degree. A really nice guy, very, very knowledgeable. We work together on the Central Library Consortium Governing Council, so I've known him for at least 5 years. So he'll do a great job. He's already doing a lot of the stuff. He took over some of my meetings already. He's already signing all the purchase orders and everything. So I am really, if you're a Star Trek fan, I've been signing my stuff as Captain Dunsel. Yeah. You got it, didn't you? Good. Thank you, Darren. So
you're just chilling then, man. You're just taking up space from. It seems like
literally.
He's doing all the work.
Well, Sherry, who is our whirlwind porter during the day, she's had to dust me several times.
So biggest changes in your. I can think of one, but what's some big changes that in your tenure, either at Delaware or just in the library business?
I think COVID's changed everything in the last few years. How we communicate with each other, how we do meetings, how we actually get information out to people. We've moved a lot of things into electronic resources so people can get access to them. And we really upgraded the opportunity to get an online card, that sort of thing. So that's been a huge change. Just the impact of technology over the 50 years I've been in libraries has been immense. It's gone from being a library would give you anything they had between the four walls. Now we can basically give you anything in the world. And that's the big change.
I think the biggest change.
And I don't like it. I'm just telling you, I still like to go and take a book off the shelf and have it in my hands and turn the pages.
Yeah. And that's why we're not going to change that ever, because you're not alone in that. And I think that's really, really important. The personal side is still just as important. But if it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday night and your kid says, "Oh, Mom, I forgot to tell you I need to do a report on the Appian Way," it's like, oh, now you can.
Thank you. I love how Lee is rubbing off on Adam. He totally went old crusty on that one.
I'll tell you, the biggest change, I think, and this is in Nicole's area, is how much programming you guys do. Mm-hmm. I remember, a big excitement at the library was going in and looking at the oversized books, or
the oversized librarian.
Yeah. But the amount of programming that goes on, Nicole, that's 90% of what you do.
Yeah, well, I promote it, but it's our librarians who really put it together, and they're the ones who have the public coming in and saying, I love knitting, and so cool, let's try a knitting club. And they say, I love,
No one.
You know what they do say, though, and Darren can get behind this, is they say, I love really super geeky things. And so we say, why don't we do a Comic-Con? And so that was something that we introduced about 7 years ago. Our very first one, your very first year? I think so as well. And so, we kind of in the era of George has also been the era of our geeky Comic-Con. So
that is your number one accomplishment, sir. I love that event.
Yeah. So we've had really great opportunities. We've also gotten to hear from the public about, we have the opportunity now to meet the authors. It started out, one of our very first authors who we met was Orson Scott Card, and he came in via Skype before Skype was even a thing. We had a couple other smaller authors.
Game, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we had a couple other authors come in person. Christina Enriquez was there. She was talking about The Book of Unknown Americans, was a story that she wrote about the Hispanic experience in America. Now this year we're having people like we had Sarah Vowell earlier this year. We had William Kent Kruger, what the Friends brought. We also are having Felicia Day, who's coming this fall. We have Tommy Orange, who's coming, and Neil Schusterman is coming in 2023. So it's just been amazing, the fact that and I love that George is really well read and that he has time to be really well read, because I cannot interview authors because I don't have time to read their books. So I've always let George take the lead when it comes to author interviews.
Was the ending hard to write?
So you remember you wrote that book? It was awesome.
I think Molly literally had a question, because one time we had an author who was going to be on the show and George couldn't make it, and so Molly was my co-host. And Molly was like, I think I literally asked him, hey, remember when you did that?
Oh, well.
Is there going to be like a sequel to
Yeah.
this book?
Right.
So, Darren and I, we have one request. Mark Graney, right?
Yeah, we got to get Mark Graney up in here. I want so many things I want to ask
If there
him.
really is a Mark Graney, it could be Tom Clancy.
He's still alive. He's like cryogenically in a jar or
He and
something.
Ted Williams could be writing books. Well, Ted Williams had many. So, all right,
Hubbard, yes.
all right. We've officially gone down the rabbit hole. So we'll sign off. George, would you like to take us out?
Oh boy, would I ever?
I'm
Out of
also
the
gonna-
episode.
I'm also going to put you on the spot, George. What song would you like me to play to kick off the top of the hour? Any song that you can think of on the top of your head that we play here at My 96.
Oh my gosh, I got to
In
think of
honor
something
of you.
from the 80s, 90s, or
What's
aughts.
your Blarney Stone song that you always talk about? There's somebody who does
Blarney Stone.
He's a folk singer, and you always would talk about him, and it was like, oh,
Jesse
would you say
Gage
him?
does not have Barney Stone songs.
yeah. Can you find "We'll Meet Again" by Vera Lynn? No. Oh man, it's anything by Robert Palmer.
Robert Palmer?
Robert Palmer, yes.
Irresistible.
Simply Irresistible. That's great.
All right,
Yes.
all right. Let me see
There
if
we
I
go.
can
And that is why all of our listeners will be back next Friday because we're simply irresistible.
That's
right?
it.
All five of them are right here. So.
Thank you
Simply
very much.
Irresistible. Yep. All right, I got
Are you
it.
ready to
Thank you,
roll,
Lee and
Gage?
Adam. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Darren, for being here. It's great seeing you
Thanks
again.
for letting me celebrate your departure. Sounds weird, but
No,
you
that's
know,
all right.
celebrate.
I'm celebrating it. Why shouldn't you? Gage, of course, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Nicole, a pleasure. I'll have a chance to really thank you.
Lee's
next
like,
week.
wait a minute.
No,
And
he's
then-
doing great.
No,
He's doing great.
No, this is your part of the show. I got to open it. You should
All right.
close it.
That is the digest. We'll see everybody next week.